Hola, hoy estamos aquí con McManaway, el creador de Tantrix, que ha venido expresamente este fin de semana a Badalona para el Mundial de Tantrix y hemos tenido el gran honor de que nos ha concedido una entrevista. Hi Mike, how you doing? Thank you very much for coming to the World Tantrix Open and for the interview. So, first of all, how did you create it, Tantrix? And how it went and how the idea came up?
So the quick answer, I was in the bottom of South America, Patagonia, a place called Torres del Paine National Park, and I'd broken, well, actually one arm, two ribs and a collarbone in a climbing accident, and I had not much to do because I was incapacitated, and on top of that I was in a tent and by a river, and the river was too high. It's a long story. And I had a list of things to do for what in English we call rainy days, my rainy day list.
Yeah.
And one was to improve my juggling. And the other was a magic trick. And number 3 on my list was to invent a game.
Okay.
And I was already the New Zealand backgammon champion, and I always had a little dream to invent my own game. So the opportunity was there.
And how the idea came up to make these lines and these connections and so on?
So there is a connection back to New Zealand where maybe 5 or 10 years earlier, a friend of mine had made a game with square pieces. And if you think about a square piece and you put lines across it, there's only 2 possibilities. It's a lot more limited. And I had the idea to expand this into hexagons. And now we have 56 different shapes. And then it was just pure pleasure, really, for the next 5 years, inventing all of the activities that you can do with these 56 pieces.
It was very different, the original game, than the one that we know today?
Yes, it was. And the reason for that is in the beginning, we made it too complicated. I was coming from a chess and a backgammon background, and I wanted a game that was very strategic and cerebral. And but we got the feedback from the public. The public really prefers the games which are a combination of luck and skill. Probably the best player will win, but it's not guaranteed. For this weekend, we can't predict who's going to win. It would be different. If all the best chess players arrived, the best player will win. He always wins.
And it was called Tantrix, by the way.
It was originally called The Mind Game.
The mind game.
Yeah, but that was I had a shop selling games, and that was the
Okay.
name of the shop, and I was stupid enough to name the first edition after my shop, but that was a bad idea. So.
And when did you come up with Tantrix?
The same year that we switched from cardboard pieces to the high quality resin pieces that we have now. We gave it a complete change. We added 2 extra colors. We changed the name. We changed the materials. It was a big step up.
It was cardboard.
It was cardboard.
Okay.
And it was printed in Chile.
In Chile?
In Chile, the first
From
set.
Chile to New Zealand, because you are from New Zealand,
Yes.
for those people who don't
Yeah.
know. And how the company was created, because you had the store, you had the shop.
Yeah, well, I had a shop with a business partner, and about this time, I mean, it's pretty lucky if you have your own shop, because now you take your game and you sell it in your own shop. So that was a big advantage to me. Plenty of people invent a game, but does it sell? That's a harder question. So that now you can get some initial sales. We only made 2,000. And we sold them. I don't know if it was a year to sell all 2,000, but I would say more than half were sold in my shop. And it's not the money you're looking for. It's the feedback. It's getting it, because you are never going to get the game right the first time. You need to get lots and lots of people playing it to find out what's possible. For example, only a very small percentage of people will play it at a high level. So if you only sell 100, you never will know what's possible. But you need to tell it. You need to see how the children will behave with it. You need to see how a top strategist will behave with it, and then you need to take all this feedback and decide what's the best direction for your game. Should you make it easier or harder, more complicated, more simple? What's its natural purpose, this game?
Did you create all the varieties of the game or not? Or?
I guess we have to give credit to all the players over the years that keep sending us new ideas.
Okay.
And probably too many ideas. And we are like, yes, but sorry, thanks for your idea, but we can't put everything in. But we try to keep adding new ideas in whenever we can.
Do you still receive ideas?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
all the time. Yeah.
And how the game came out from New Zealand? How did it expand it all over the world?
So in the beginning, there was a French guy, and he was traveling around New Zealand with his wife, and he was advertising French lessons. And my French has always been bad, much worse than my Spanish. And I knew that I was going to often travel in France, and I wanted to improve my French. So I saw his note in a backpackers, and I invited him to come and stay in our house. And we became friends, and he gave me French lessons, but he became really interested in Tantrix. And he said, Mike, let me be the one that takes it to Europe. So this was right at the start. And I said, okay, you start in France, and we see how it goes. And his name was Laurent, and that was a big step up for us to start getting international. Yeah.
So from New Zealand to Europe, and then this.
Well, I think we should say that the really big step was when we made an internet server site back in 1996. So a long time before Facebook. You could go and meet other people and play Tantrix, and you could talk to them, and you could make friends with them, and then you could go and visit them in their country. And so we had a community of Tantrix players. And not for money, but for the love of the game, this community turned out to be really valuable to us. Just to give you one example, here we have, this weekend, some Hungarians are coming, including people that were playing it in 1996, and they came to me and they said, it's not on sale in Hungary, but could we sell it? So if we created a community with the internet, and then the people on the community were interested to bring it to their country, the table version. So we have to distinguish between the internet version and the table version.
Because this weekend it takes place the World Tantrix Open, which means table.
Table.
Open.
Table game. Yes.
Where people are coming here to Badalona from all over the world to play. But as you said, there's a World Tantrix Championship that takes place every year during some month on internet.
Yes.
So it started
and that's
on
much
internet.
easier to get to because you can play that from your house. So that has more players. They don't have to travel all the way to Badalona. And it's a different type of person that wins it, because you play one game and then you go back to sleep, and then you organize another game, and it takes place over many months. But here, for the table open, it's a young person's game. You need to think really, really hard, non-stop, for 8 hours, and then get up the next day and another 8 hours. It's a different skill.
And how did the Open started?
So we had a good English player, and we were having the tournaments on the internet. And I think he might have been the world champion one year. And he said, "Mike, we need table tournaments." And I'm thinking, yes, but who's going to travel around the world? Do we have enough players to actually fly, or take a boat if you want? But he said, well, let me try it. And so the first World Open, I'm going to guess it was like 2006, but it's a guess. And it was in Edinburgh. And it was fantastic. We had 50 players came from all around the world, mainly Europe, but all around. And it was so successful that almost every year since then we've had a World Open, apart from the COVID years.
And each year in a different place, right?
Yes, but normally in Europe, because that's where most of the players are.
So
it's a bit like the Olympic Games. You have to choose 1 or 2 years in advance, talk to all the other players, see if everyone is happy to come to your city. If enough people are happy, it needs to be somewhere that's easy to get to. Barcelona is fantastic for its
all this is
convenience.
just organized through the
By the
people that
by
are
the
playing the
players.
championship?
Yes,
or?
by the players themselves.
Okay.
Not us, although we said we must organize it 1 year, so we did it 1 year.
It could be really good, but it's going to be quite expensive, at least for European people to come to New
Okay, so
Zealand, but it's going to be really cool.
We had it in the French
Okay.
Alps, which is like our second home, and a
Okay,
place
then
that we
it's
love.
fine. It's fine.
Yes.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And then, what are your projects now? After all these years working on tantrics and so on, what are your projects for the brand?
Well, we're quite excited with the puzzle pack, which is putting aside the strategy game. You can also do solitaire activities with tantrics. So let's call them puzzles. Some of these puzzles are quite quick to do, but some could take you hours. And in fact, we have puzzles which no human has solved, only computer programs have solved. So we have lots of solitaire activities. And it's quite nice to give you a small puzzle pack that you could just travel with. And there's always something you haven't done yet, and you could get better and better at it. It's not like a Rubik's Cube where you've done it and it's finished. It's more like a jigsaw puzzle with multiple solutions. There's always a different way to solve it.
Do you keep playing now?
Do I keep playing?
Yes.
When I'm sitting in a cafe, I often pull out the solitaire one just to improve my skills, because if I don't do it often, I'm going backwards.
Good.
Yeah.
Then, thank you very much for the interview. And I hope you enjoyed the Open, and I hope that you enjoyed the city.
I hope so too. I have to recover from the jet lag, but I'm looking for a good performance, or at least not an embarrassing performance.
Are you playing?
Of course. Yeah.
Oh,
of course.
good.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, no, I have missed the last few, but every year I come hoping for a better result. I've never won it yet, but maybe this is my year.
Oh, for sure.
It's possible.
It's going to be so. Good luck on the Open.
Yeah, we have some good players here.
I'm sure about it. Muchas gracias, Mike. Y nos vemos en la próxima entrevista.